Sir, we are live on YouTube also, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Great. Good afternoon, Shalini ji. Good afternoon, Onam ji.
अभी आवाज आई, पहले आवाज नहीं रही।
आवाज नहीं आ रही थी। आंचल जी का वेट करें एक बार। आंचल कपूर जी आ रही हैं, उनका फर्स्ट सेशन ही है आंचल जी का। मैम आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी।
पहले सर दीपा मैम का है।
अरे दीपा मैम करेंगे। ओके मैम आपके ना नेट में कोई दिक्कत है शालिनी मैम, आवाज नहीं आ रही आपकी ना। तो शुड वी स्टार्ट? नहीं, साफ नहीं आ रही आपकी आवाज ना। शुड वी स्टार्ट द प्रोग्राम? शालिनी मैम आप प्रोग्राम स्टार्ट करेंगे एक बार, देखिए आपके यहाँ से कनेक्टिविटी हो रही है।
मैम आवाज टूट के आ रही है, आपकी आवाज टूट के आ रही है।
ओनम अब आ रही है?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's clear. Now it's seamless.
ठीक है। Shall we
You want
start?
to- Yes. Should we wait for some participants? Shall we start, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. A very warm afternoon to one and all present here with us. Esteemed colleagues, honored guests, committee members, and future pioneers of the Chartered Accountancy profession. Welcome to this wonderful initiative of NIRC of empowering women. Isn't it great that we are meeting up on the second day of Navratras? Today, we remember Mata Brahmacharini, who's all about wisdom. And I strongly believe that wisdom, along with being the financial boss, is the key to lifting up women everywhere. It makes it the perfect day to proudly kickstart our monthly. I particularly like the name. It just resonates with energy and gives us that motivational kick. As growing number of women are making it to the CA profession, Shakti series is not just a celebration of women who are part of this profession, but taking guidance from exemplary leaders who are truly instrumental in reshaping it. We have amongst us two such eminent professionals. CA Anchal Kapoorji, she is here to take us through the ins and outs of GST in bank audits, and CA Deepa Gupta ji. She will share how you can become an independent director. Once again, great thanks to NIRC for undertaking this initiative under the able guidance of our chairman, NIRC, Shri Abhinav Agarwal ji, and Vice President, Ms. Shalini Gupta ji. So to start off the session, I first welcome our chairman, NIRC, Shri
Please quote correctly, Vice Chairman. Vice Chairperson. Not Vice President.
I get it, sir. Not Vice Chairperson. I request sir to address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Onam ji. A very unique name. I guess I heard first time in my life, Onam. It's a very beautiful name. I welcome Shalini Gupta ji, our Vice Chairperson, who is the coordinator of this series, Shakti, as rightly said by the Onamji, that it's our first program in this auspicious week of Navratris, and this is the first program of our new team, which we have started with this series, and this is also first program in the list of our webinar series. तो ये वेबिनार का भी हमारा फर्स्ट प्रोग्राम है, नवरात्रे में भी हमारी नई टीम का भी हमने स्टार्ट ही शक्ति से स्टार्ट करा, क्योंकि हर चीज कहते हैं लक्ष्मी ही सर्वप्रिय होते हैं, तो हम चाहते थे हम अपनी ऑनलाइन सीरीज हम अपनी बहनों के साथ, अपनी सिस्टर के साथ और अपने कलीग्स के साथ शेयर करें। तो हमने ये शक्ति हमारी, जैसे आपने एड्रेस भी किया बताया कि ये यूनिक प्रोग्राम है जिसमें हम डिफरेंट जो लीडर्स हैं हमारे फील्ड की, हम उनको इस प्रोग्राम में लेके आना चाहेंगे फ्रॉम डिफरेंट फील्ड्स ऑफ द मार्केट, कि वो ताकि हमारे जो नई और जो हमें फॉलो करते हैं जो वुमेन्स फीमेल्स हैं, वो उससे इंस्पायर हो और अपनी अपनी लाइफ में जो भी कुछ नया करना चाहते हैं उससे उनको मोटिवेशन मिले, इंस्पिरेशन मिले, गाइडेंस मिले कि वो कैसे अपने आने वाले फ्यूचर में कैसे काम कर सकते हैं। एक हमारे ये भी नई वर्किंग भी चल रही है, जो हमारी शालिनी जी के साथ में डिस्कशन भी चल रही है, कि जो वुमेन्स आफ्टर मैरिज और काफी ब्रेक उनके टाइम गैप आ जाता है, दोबारा जॉब स्टार्ट नहीं कर पाती, उनके लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं। तो उस पर भी हम एक जल्दी कोई ना कोई प्रोग्राम लॉन्च करेंगे, जिसमें जो वुमेन्स चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट वुमेन्स उनको टाइम गैप हो जाता है आफ्टर मैरिज ड्यू टू सम फैमिली कमिटमेंट्स और अदर कमिटमेंट्स, तो उनके लिए भी हम प्रोग्राम्स इनिशिएट कर रहे हैं। तो डिफरेंट कैटेगरीज के डिफरेंट पाइपलाइन में प्रोसेस में है, जो इन फ्यूचर हम सारे मेंबर्स के साथ में शेयर करेंगे और उनको डिफरेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज इन द फील्ड ऑफ प्रोफेशन ऑल्सो, कि वो अपने प्रोफेशनल लाइफ को भी कैसे आगे कैटर कर सकते हैं, उसमें हेल्प मिलेगी। तो इसके लिए मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूँ शालिनी जी का भी, जो इन प्रोग्राम्स के लिए अपना 100% सारा टाइम, और उनकी कमिटमेंट लेवल बहुत हाई है कि वो सबके लिए इस प्रोग्राम इस तरीके के प्रोग्राम्स के लिए बहुत ज्यादा टाइम देती है। ओवर टू शालिनी।
Thank you, sir, for your meaningful words. We would also like to hear from Ms. Shalini Gupta ji, who's the Vice Chairperson of NIRC and who herself is an embodiment of Shakti. I'll just share some details about her. After 8 years of marriage and 2 kids, she began the CA course and completed it in the shortest possible time. She is currently serving as the chairperson of Women Empowerment Committee of NIRC of ICAI and National Vice President of Export Council of Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. She has over 23 years of experience in working closely with different government departments, banking and financial institutions, income tax and GST department, public relations, and actively conducts seminars and workshops on various topics relevant to economic scenario, trade, and commerce. We would like to hear something from you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Onam. अभिनव जी ने बिल्कुल सही कहा, आपका बड़ा यूनिक नेम है. I think I have also heard this name first time. And a very good evening to all my special guests, my female chartered accountants and all the other chartered accountants who have joined. Good evening, Abhinav ji, Chairman NIRC, and really thankful to you, as Abhinav ji have always supported a lot. Whenever I have asked, we want to do any, not even related to women, any program we want to do for the sake of profession, he has always extended full support. So thank you, Abhinav ji. We are really lucky that you being on the chair and you are supporting all the activities, especially this Shakti series. As he said, we have started the first webinar series, and the first webinar series is the Shakti series, as we are starting lot number of webinar series. दो लाइनें आज नवरात्रों के दिन में कहूंगी. या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्ति रूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्ते 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 नमो नमः. तो इस शक्ति सीरीज को हम इस माता के श्लोक से शुरू करने जा रहे हैं, और स्पेशली इस सीरीज में विमेन स्पीकर्स और विमेन मॉडरेटर होंगे. और खास बात मैं कहूंगी, जब मैं अभिनव जी से डिस्कस कर रही थी तो अभिनव जी ने कहा कि विल नॉट कन्फाइन दिस ओनली टू शक्ति सीरीज, हमारे बहुत सारी और भी वेबिनार सीरीज शुरू होने वाली हैं, तो we'll encourage women to participate in those also, be as a speaker, be as a moderator. So this series is only this series is not confined to women chartered accountants. All the
Right,
series are
right.
open.
अभी अभी
So
शालिनी जी हमारी एक इंटरनेशनल टैक्सेशन पे सीरीज है जो मंथ एंड पे हम स्टार्ट करेंगे।
हाँ
आपको
जी,
खुशी होगी ये जानकर कि 6 में से 4 स्पीकर
हाँ
वुमेन ही है। मुझे तो ऐसा लग रहा है कि शक्ति हम नाम दे रहे हैं लेकिन ऑलरेडी बहुत ज्यादा शक्ति है।
हाँ,
और
तो इस
सारे हमारे, हाँ, तो हमारे आज आप देखेंगे फ्यूचर में भी कि हमारे सारे प्रोग्राम्स में हम कोशिश करेंगे कि जितनी फीमेल्स, अगर हमें प्रायोरिटी फीमेल्स कैंडिडेट या फीमेल स्पीकर्स की ज्यादा मिलेगी तो हमारी प्रायोरिटी हुए। क्यों? रीजन बीइंग क्या है कि हमारे फिजिकल सेमिनार्स में मेल स्पीकर्स आ जाते हैं क्योंकि वो ऑलरेडी फील्ड पे रहते हैं, तो अपने प्रोफेशन से, जॉब से आ जाते हैं। लेकिन वेब सीरीज पे, ऑनलाइन सीरीज पे आपको कन्वीनियंस के लिए तो जितनी फीमेल चार्टर्स अपने घर से, अपने ऑफिस से अटेंड कर सकती हैं, एक कन्वीनियंस के लिए तुम प्रेफरेंस करेंगे कि जितनी ऑनलाइन सीरीज है इसमें जितने फीमेल स्पीकर्स आ सके मैक्सिमम, तो हम उन तक मैक्सिमम इसको रीच करने की कोशिश करेंगे।
और बहुत ही अच्छा प्लेटफॉर्म है ये। आपका पता चलता है आप किस फील्ड में काम कर रहे हो, प्रोफेशनली भी और पर्सनली भी, सोशली भी बहुत ही अपलिफ्टमेंट होती है टू पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन दीज प्रोग्राम्स। और मैं तो पर्सनली सारी वुमेन चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट जितनी भी हैं, मैं सबसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि हमारे जो फिजिकल प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं, और एवरी सैटरडे NIRC एक फिजिकल प्रोग्राम करती है जनरली अराउंड द, हमारा जो CP है उसमें किसी न किसी होटल में, तो मैं चाहूंगी कि सेंट्रल प्लेस है। तो जितनी भी वुमेन चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, आप हमारे ऑनलाइन सीरीज में भी और हमारी जो फिजिकल अटेंडेंस प्रोग्राम होते हैं, आप सब में पार्टिसिपेट करो। इवन लास्ट हमने जो फर्स्ट बैंक ऑडिट पे सेमिनार किया, उसमें हमने ये भी कहा कि विल फिक्स द टेबल, वन और मोर टेबल फॉर द फीमेल चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स, ताकि वो इकट्ठे बैठ के डिस्कस कर सके, तो
मैम हो रहा है
ताकि उनकी
वो। अब
प्रेजेंस
सारे
और बढ़े।
आप पता करेंगे फर्स्ट ऑफ द लाइन ऑफ द इन ईच
हाँ,
एवरी प्रोग्राम को रिजर्व कर दिया हमने फीमेल्स
हमने
के लिए।
रिजर्व
और
कर दी है।
हमने एक सजेशन और दिया था मैम ने लास्ट वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट डे पे कि 500 रुपीज का हमने डिस्काउंट भी रखा। हमने एनुअल मेंबरशिप में,
हाँ,
जो फर्स्ट टाइम था ये कि वुमेन्स के चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स के लिए जो एनुअल मेंबरशिप लेना चाहते हैं, 500 रुपीज एडिशनल डिस्काउंट हमने अपनी कमेटी में पास करा फीमेल्स के लिए। तो
बिल्कुल।
मैं मानता हूँ
और ये
500
चीज
रुपए से ऐसा कुछ होता नहीं है, लेकिन एक क्या होता है, एक जो फीलिंग्स हैं वो दिखती है, या एक एप्रिसिएशन है, या एक हमें लगता है कि हम कुछ भी कर सकते हैं। हालांकि 500 रुपए कोई बहुत ज्यादा नहीं, लेकिन एक होता है कि हमने डिफरेंट सोचा, एक हमने बस वही कुछ करने का पर्पस होता है।
obviously 500 rupees doesn't matter, but the we want to show that हम रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं और हम चाहते हैं कि
राइट,
पार्टिसिपेशन बढ़े। इट्स जस्ट अ
हाँ,
जेस्चर ऑफ
just
एक्नॉलेजमेंट के विमेन चार्टर्ड
राइट,
अकाउंटेंट्स। और हमें पता 33% ऑफ द टोटल चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स एट प्रेजेंट डे आर द विमेन चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स, बट द पार्टिसिपेशन एंड role is little bit less as we compare to our counterpart. So in order to increase their participation, in order to encourage them, we just want to increase their participation. तो ये छोटे छोटे इनिशिएटिव्स हैं, एक सीट रिजर्व करना या थोड़ा सा डिस्काउंट, कोई बहुत बड़ी चीजें मैटर नहीं करती, बट ये आप जेस्चर इसको समझ सकते हैं कि गुड जेस्चर है। हम आप सबको चाहते हैं कि आप ज्यादा से ज्यादा पार्टिसिपेट करें। तो बहुत ज्यादा टाइम नहीं लेते हुए, आज के बहुत ही अच्छा टॉपिक है। दीपा जी को मैंने स्पेशल रिक्वेस्ट की कि बहुत बिजी स्केड्यूल है उनका भी और आंचल जी का भी, और आंचल जी तो आज लद्दाख में उनका ऑडिट चल रहा है, दीपा जी भी बहुत बिजी थी। तो आई एम रियली थैंकफुल टू बोथ ऑफ देम, उन्होंने हमारी रिक्वेस्ट को एक्सेप्ट किया। और बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक है आज, दोनों टॉपिक करंट रेलेवेंस के हैं। तो नॉट टेकिंग मच ऑफ टाइम, ओनम प्लीज you proceed with the further proceedings. Thank you
बस
very
मैम मैं
much.
एक मिनट मैं लेना चाहूंगा। एक्चुअली हमारे यहाँ पे आज निकासा इलेक्शन है। हमारे यहाँ भी टीम बन रही है निकासा के बच्चों की, उनके इलेक्शन हो रहे, तो मैं अभी लीव लेना चाहूंगा। बस मैं छोटी सी रिक्वेस्ट है कि मेरे बाद शालिनी जी इस प्रोग्राम को पूरा कोऑर्डिनेट करेंगी, और मॉडरेटर हमारे ओनम जी हैं जो कि काफी एक्सपर्ट लगी रही है, प्रोग्राम हैंडल कर ही लेंगी। और मैं स्पीकर से भी रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहूंगा, एक्नॉलेज करना चाहूंगा प्रेजेंस ऑफ सीए दीपा मैम। थैंक्स मैम एक यूनिक टॉपिक लेने के लिए आप। और ये बहुत ही, मैंने शालिनी मैम से डिस्कस किया, हमारी टीम से किया, ये टॉपिक का है क्या, इतना इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक लग रहा है कि इसमें ये तो सारे इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर बोलते हैं कि आज मैडम ऐसा कुछ गाइड कर देंगी। तो बस मैं सुनना चाहता था, लेकिन मेरे बस एक मीटिंग है, तो मैं शालिनी जी से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा एट द एंड ऑफ द प्रोग्राम एक लेटर ऑफ एप्रिसिएशन से आपको सम्मानित करेंगी। तो मैम प्लीज आई वांट टू टेक अ लीव, और आप प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
थैंक यू
Thank you,
अभिनव जी। एंड आप निकासा की बात कर रहे थे, यू नो, you'll be happy to know that myself, Ramesh Dugar, Pratap Rastogi, we are the founders of Nikasa. We are the founder members of Nikasa. Can you believe it?
Very great, ma'am.
The first
Great.
time when the politics came into being, so we are the founder people. ICASA ke point of ICASA.
In which year, ma'am?
That's,
In which year?
At that time, I was a student, and that was
It's around 2000?
no, it's more than 30 years ago. More than that. This is 1985. 1985.
1985.
That's great.
So today's politics can take a step that, yes, we are the creators of that politics of institute today. Otherwise, at that time, it was like very basic and just absolutely not existing at all. So we started creating the newsletter. The students' newsletter, which was dedicated for the students, came out for the first time. And we had one person who was very good at writing articles. So they were, embodied with the fact that they're going to do the article writing. And that's how the student movement came into being. And then, of course, it grew with passage of time and it became more relevant and more effective and meaningful as well.
Done. Okay, ma'am. Please continue. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So women empowerment is all in the thoughts of NIRC, what I gathered from Shalini ma'am and Abhinav sir. Now, before we start the session, I would like to introduce myself. I am Onam Agarwal, and I'm spearheading FEMA and International Taxation at One Stop Consultants and Services LLP, and I'm very elated to serve as the moderator for today's event. Our first speaker for the day is CA Deepa Gupta ji. She is a certified public accountant from Australia and a CA from India. She is an MBA, LLB, and a company secretary from Institute of Company Secretaries of India. She is actively leading the Federation of Indian Industry as the Australian coordinator. She's a CA and CPA by profession, but she is a social advocate by passion. She has extensive experience in professional capacities of chair, deputy chair, member board, high power committees, advisor, consultant, team leader, auditor across commercial, social, and charitable sectors. That is for both profit and not-for-profit organizations. She is a winner of many awards and prizes. She has also been part of the inception committee of CSR for the Indian government, which laid the fundamental and foundations of CSR in India. She is chairing Mark Foundation, which is a non-for-profit company. This is truly called the CA with a purpose. We welcome you, ma'am. Please share your wonderful words with all of us.
Thank you, Onam. I think that was a very beautiful presentation. Thank you so much. It was amazing the way you put it. And what I hear about you is so good. Shalini, the president is there. So in his absence, we give him regards. Shalini ji, you're the vice president. I'm so proud to see women holding such great chairs in the offices of the institute, because it was a huge challenge when we started. And Onam, when we see companies which are LLPs being headed by professionals and young blood, energetic, it really makes my day. It makes me feel my dream has come true. And I'm so happy. I don't know how many participants we are having. Oh, we have about 67 participants. I'm amazed. I'm like, congratulations to you, Shalini, and Aunam, and all the members who are putting in so much. Before I start, I would share with you the history. When we were into stuff, there were in a whole hall where 1,000 chartered accountants were giving exams, there were only 2 girls. Only 2 girls were sitting in examination out of 1,000 male members. That was the kind of ratio we had at that time. And the whole of the institute had 5 girls in the NIRC campus, which was at the ITU at that time. So that sparse was the representation of women. And the library at that time used to be like, it's all going to be taken up by the boys, and they would come much earlier and the girls will come later. So it was a big fight, and I was an early riser. I would go and book the seats there for us. 5 women. That was the kind of domination we played around at that time as well. And it was a dream to see that women, when they would be able to get the chairs of the kind we talk today. Today, it seems nothing usual. It's like, okay, it's like part of the story. But where the story happened, the kind of challenges we had at those times really makes us understand how empowered we are today. And it's amazing whenever I see Shalini, whenever now I see you, I meet you. I mean, it's just makes my day. It just makes my day. Absolutely. And I'm sure there are so many participants whom I wish I could say. Are we in a position to see the participants as well if we go online on the Zoom view, or is it hidden and we just see as the speaker? Because it's so much more meaningful when you see your participants, you see the reactions, you interact with them. It's like a live interaction, and it makes it just so much more real as well. So I don't know if it is. Are we able to see it in the gallery now? It's just us, I presume. It's just us. So no, we don't have the gallery where we can see the. So Shalini, I would suggest that you should also take the initiative. That when we as members, women members, we're sitting, they want to see, because it's not a time where it's a top-down approach. It's a bottom-top approach. So everybody who's a part of an audience has to be participative, has to be collaborative. They have to feel that they are into it, as engrossed into it. It's
Deepa
not
ma'am, it will be participative. After your deliberation, we'll open it up for the question answer
Beautiful.
series.
Yes, but you must also push it at the institute level, that when we have seminars and webinars, I'm going to take it up with the Central Council as well. Why, like when we go, I go for many national, international forums and seminars, as you can see, we are able to see the audience, and the audience is able to see us as well. And we've got at times 500 people online, 800 people online, 900 people online. And it really makes, because everybody's talking, everybody's responding, there's a coordinator. So
We'll change the settings, ma'am. It will be visible.
no, in our case, I don't think it is. I think probably it'll have to be done by a code at the institute level at a point of time. I mean, because none of the webinars you're able to see through. When I'm doing it as an audience, that time also I'm only able to see them and they speak. So today I'm speaking, they'll be able to see me, but I can't see them. And it's a one-way story. And we women believe in two-way story.
We'll change the settings.
Yes.
We'll change the settings.
Yes, we have to bring in an empowerment where we say we. And for me, if you go on my LinkedIn, I always talk about saying that it's not about me, it's about we. The passion of what we want to do is creating teamworks. And teamworks brings in strengths. And today I'm going to share a lot of insight of the journey of how to become pathways to boards, because all of the women, they find it's glamorous, it's beautiful, it's prestigious, it's wow, it's the wow factor. And I really love to see, and it's so nice that the change of the Companies Act brought in amendment where it was compulsory for the women to be there. The theme behind that is inclusion, because it's not only, you'll be surprised to know, it's not only in India, even foreign, the women on boards is in few percentages. Means the discrimination, I call it pure discrimination. The discrimination does not stop here, that ours is a traditional country, or we have value-based systems where women have just started growing up in the past 10 to 15 years. No, it's prevalent all over the world. There are not very many Nooris you see even in developed countries. And it's surprising when you say, oh my God, I thought it was just the developing nations are a little bit more conservative, who are just, peeling out their conservatism and bringing the women women and girls on board to say they're equal power. The biggest talk in industries in the world is about inclusion, gender equality. And before I will go into a deep dive, I'd also share with you that women and boards are sometimes just structures to be sitting there on boards. Because she's supposed to be there, she's just there. Because they do not want interference, that kind of embargo is still felt by many boards. But many, many pragmatic boards particularly those who are in the later technologies and who believe with youngsters into the frame who have come, startups who have gone into multi-billion companies, unicorns, and stuff like that. Those organizations have a far more pragmatic outlook, and they include women into participative mode, that when they say, the men hear, because at the end of the day, there's about 1 or 2 women at the board, normal boards. And in those boards, as it is, she's feeling at a loss because she's just 1 or 2 against the number of men around her. So, and when you want to speak at a board, you think twice. Oh, I'm going to say, is it okay? What should I say? What shouldn't I say? And there's a lot of hesitation because, number one, culturally, we have been brought up in that way that somewhere lurks behind us at the back. And that's important for us to understand, that a confidence within us, that I know what I'm saying, and I am on the chair. I need to say what I need to say. I'm representing a stakeholder, and here I also take that women have that quality which is far more better than men, and I say it very openly. She can be doing many multiple roles simultaneously and all effectively. She'll be a sister, she'll be a friend, she'll be a mother, she'll be a guide, she'll be a professional, she'll be an artist, and she'll be a mentor. All of them she can do simultaneously without goofing them up. You ask a man, he wouldn't know where his socks are. I can tell you. Yeah, they don't know where their socks are. So it's a trust me. And this conversation doesn't happen between me and my counterparts, women. Even women from developed countries say the same story, that they're absolutely disorganized. So the moment we call a set of people disorganized, means we are already empowered to that extent, is what I call. That means a confidence level has to say, oh no, I'm far better than you. You can't do your own stuff, leave alone doing multitasking. And I do my own stuff and multitasking by a nature within me as a person and as a God gift. And hence, I'm certainly going to outsmart you and outbetter you in any sphere where I stand up. And we see that. It's amazing, whether it's the moon, whether it's the stars, whether it's the police. Well, hardest of the tasks, once they take on, they come to excel because they're very focused. They don't get distracted. That's a very quality which women have. They're like absolutely spot on what they want to do. It's like an axe on the log. And it'll cut apart. Even on the past percentage of chartered accountants, the women get on far more. And see, even our president, he said, there's a seminar, we had 4 women, and he's getting, oh my God, they're outsmarting me. They're no more in numbers. And best part of the story is we are in a profession which is very document oriented, study oriented, very deep oriented. So it's very much suitable to the traditional nature of the women. They love doing that. They just absolutely excel. So definitely that gives them an edge as well. And they're able to override and ride the wave far better. We just say, give us an opportunity. We'll show you we are the winners. That's what we say. So I have come across many times when women have wanted to be on boards, but it's like chaotic. It's like a chaos. I want to be. But how? How do I go there? What do I do to be there? And that's the $1 million question, which kind of keeps reverberating in the mind. 360 degrees, do this, do this, do this, do this. And then that didn't work out. That didn't work out. It may work out. But let me tell you, just like our profession, when we do our education, it's very important to have a strategy in place. Getting onto a board as a strategy. And just like to be successful in a strategy, an organization has to be strategic and successful in its goal. Your goal mission is being a director. Now, what's the strategy to move? Where I stand and where I have to be. There are certain milestones which one has to follow, put in place a business plan, follow them meticulously, and sure and certain you're going to be there where you want to be. Now, what do we call as the key points? Or as we call the key essentials. If we attempt anything and everything, it's going to be too many cooks spoil the broth. Identify sorry, identify yourself, what you want to do. And what you want to do has to be related to your passion as well, because it's just not for the part of being there. You are responsible for a particular stage. It's a stage you get. So you should be absolutely immersed into it. Because when you're immersed into what you want to be, you bring out your best. Now, amongst that, there is different sectors. Number one, what is the primary condition of being a board member, which many of us are, or all of us are professionals, would certainly understand that being a professional gives us the leeway to be there more appropriately, because they need a chartered accountant. They need a financial professional. And financial professional is normally termed with the person who's a chartered accountant. So we can take that advantage. And there has to be a woman. And hopefully it's not the managing director's wife only. Hopefully it is pragmatic enough to that they need professionals who actually want to give meaningful delivery for the stakeholders they represent. So first and foremost, it's important to understand what are the qualifications I would need to be there. So I have to see that I'm a professional. I know what are the rules and regulations which are required for me to be there, because that is the legal part of the story. Unless I'm legally qualified, for example, you have the Institute of Corporate Governance, Institute of Company Affairs in Gurgaon, where they educate people to become eligible for being on boards. Yes, they do. And that's run by the ministry. It's, of course, a body, not under the government, but it's like funded by the thing, which is beautiful sessions. And they tell you how and what is required of a member. They do not tell you how do you become a member, but they tell you if you are a member, this is what you need to be. And that gives a great eye view into what's your responsibility. Your learning part of the story as to being a chartered accountant, as we all are only chartered accountants, so I limit myself to being a chartered accountant on the board, as to what do you need to know? What are the different sections of the Companies Act which are applicable to you? What are your responsibilities? And what are the regulations that govern you? And what are your rights? Because when I relate to the rights, I also call myself, when she's sitting on a board which is primarily dominated by men, she has to understand that she gets her power roots from those sections. So she need not feel that, oh, if I say something, will I be laughed at? Because it's, oh my God, am I going to be made a mockery of? Or better keep quiet. And that stops her from saying many times what she has to say. So first of all, get that thing out of your head. Be what you are, and have the confidence that you are a professional. You have done your work well in life. Why will you not do it here? Basic confidence in yourself. Then after you go through this training procedure where you become eligible to be, this is the eligibility part of it. But then eligible after that, now, okay, I have a degree, chartered accountant. What do I practice? It's like, okay, what do I do now? Fine, I'm eligible to be a board, but that doesn't make me a board member. What makes me a board member? So you have to find a unique strength within yourself. How do we identify that? What is your passion? What's your unique selling point? What do you want to do? For example, you just told me about FEMA, if I'm not wrong, Ono. So when we talk about, say there's an organization which has a lot of exports, which has a lot of foreign issues involved, they would love to have a person like you because you bring a lot of information. There's a person like me who's huge into community, along with the fact that I've been a very, very core professional and doing that as well. But my love just flows out for a community part of the story. So charity is just kind of hog me up because they see that. But how to reach into that position? I have to identify what's my area. Because just like when we do our education, we've done a general practice.
True.
After that, we go for the specialization. So I have to specialize. And for that, I have to create a unique skill set for myself. What vertical do I want to take? Have huge study in that vertical. Have a deep dive. Start writing on those matters. Bring up the pain points which the industry is seeking to address. Go to different forums, industrial forums, different platforms. Write about it, speak about it, create a voice. With today's digital era, it does not have the challenges which my generation had because it was a people's to people's affair. Today, you can just go and digitize yourself and have a blog, have a YouTube, have a channel, and just say, it's me, look at me. And overnight, people get so much of adorations in the other fields. When we're going to do something technical, there's no reason that the right traction is not going to happen to me. But the key points for that are identify my vertical. If I try to do everything, anything, or say, okay, just let me be a board member, whoever, whatever, you'll never, even if you get a space, you'll never be able to do good because one, your heart, mind, and body all have to be into that process. Then you can do justice to the stakeholders you are representing. You can have more than one vertical, but you have to identify your vertical. Is it agriculture? Is it steel? Is it exports? Is it digital? Is it AI? Is it robotics? Or is it construction? Is it about logistics? I mean, 101 areas. So pick your top 3. Now, when you pick your top 3, you also have to ensure that you have been in that sphere. Because if you suddenly want to be into a space where you've had nothing to do with it, it's like putting a round peg in a square hole. So you have to align your energies. In the sense, yeah, I've had opportunities to work in X number of areas in different capacities. This is what I liked about these areas. Let me hone up my skills in those areas. Get into different opportunities which are in and around those fields so that it gives you more and more about it. You learn more about it. You speak more about it. You are heard more about it. It need not necessarily be something in which finance, because chartered accountant is a finance specialist in a way, or a tax specialist. But it need not be just that, because the moment you're a professional, you are a growth story to the company. They already have compliance officers. So the psychology which we tend to have as a professional, that I'm a compliance officer, I'm an auditor, or I'm a tax person, needs to be broken down to say, I'm an industry partner representing different stakeholders for the industry to grow to a height and go to its vision. Whenever you are going for a company you want to aim at, as I said, these are the key elements you identify and hone yourself. Network into the area of people who are into that area, meeting senior people, senior management, impress upon them your point. Talking big and loud and more is never good. Listen and talk less. Good listeners are always the best deliverers. Because when we absorb one-sidedly, we think and speak. The biggest people in the world, whether it was Mahatma Gandhi, or whether it was Vivekanand, or whether it was Sardar Patel, they were people who believed in listening before speaking. So that's a very important key point. When you are amongst people who belong to senior management, chairmen, managing directors, some other people who have into the sphere of area you want to have a deep dive in, interact with them, but listen. Because lot of qualities which come along with those positions, they flow down when you listen and absorb into you. I happened to be on the board of a company when I was just 32 years. And that was like pretty young. And being young, obviously you're not that wise. You're very energetic. Everything is flamboyant. Everything is happening. You're just like, the world is on your feet at that time. So you just kind of in a very different mode, vibrant. And then when I interacted with the chairmans and Reserve Bank directors, Reserve Bank chairperson, Fed chairperson, I saw they would talk very calmly and very limited. You converse with them, I would speak 10 sentences, they would speak 2. And I said, well, something's wrong. And then I understood that you have to listen to such people more and give 1 or 2 sentences which are value-based, which are oppressive, which are a small of what 10 you are thinking. And that's going to give you the value statement. Speaking big and more will never give you a value statement. So mingle with people, go to different forums, go to industry forums, try to be part of different committees, and give your suggestions, write articles. Write an article to the minister, write an article to the prime minister, write an article to people who are relevant in that field, send in emails to them, let them know about your skills, and keep yourself abreast about what's happening around in that area. Not just, okay, really up to date. So that as and when something happens, you're ready to give it. And that's what gives you the edge to say, she knows her stuff. And mind you, we accept or not, but for women to go up the drive is twice as tough as men. It's proving your point and then going up the line. It's not the same. You have to do twice as much to say you're equally good. But once you get your space, people start accepting you, acknowledging you, and understanding you for your skill set. That's definitely happens, I can certainly tell you. Never hesitate to say what you think is wrong. Diplomatically, of course. But if it's on the chair, do not say accepted if you do not think you're comfortable with it. Refrain, restrain, or mark your no. It'll get respected. They might initially say she is a ruckus creator. But if you're talking with sense and you know what you're doing, they respect you. And somewhere the message goes, she takes no nonsense. And it's important for us women to say, no nonsense. Sometimes this kind of a journey takes longer than being the yes man. But the yes manship doesn't give you that unique skill, because then you're just following the herd. And following the herd will never excel. You always have to try to excel what you do. And that will come with taking that small bit, chewing that small bit of what you have to do. Like you've identified your spot, it's charities, it's not for charities, within the not for charities, what are the sectors? If it's charities, what are the, because within the charity also the different spheres and sectors, what sphere do you want to do? What are you passionate about? What is your knowledge base in that particular sector? How you can enhance it by doing different trainings to make yourself more relevant in the area, then make yourself visible by getting into the different spheres of being with people, talking to people, going to forums, talking about writing, etc. And then express your desire that you would be happy to be aboard if given an opportunity. Do not shy out of it. Because until unless you express yourself, the other person would never know. You could be talking because you're passionate, you're a writer, or you are a consultant, could be any of those. How does the person on the other side of the table understand that you do desire to be on that chair as well? I would also suggest, Shalini, that you should have mock session of boards on the systems here, so that women get honed into positions as to how, and if they become, what they do, how they speak. Have people who are on chairs come and handhold them, and there'll be mock sessions, because that will give them the various confidence. Your presentation is very important. How you present yourself physically, what you talk, what you lay on the paper, all combines a personality cult of you. And you have to be very, very careful. What you present of yourself has to lay a mark. You meet people, they talk, they say, they do not leave a mark. You meet people, they say, they leave a mark. So you have to identify what is it that happens that the person said, and it's something which retains with me even after 5 years, 6 months, 10 years, whatever it be. The bandwidth of time just doesn't erase it. It's the totality of your personality, which is called 360-degree personality. Most of us, because our profession is very harsh, most of us, we end up just being bookish. Most of us just end up being totally plain Janes. And plain Jane is not something which is, going to give you that extra edge. I don't say plain Janes would not be eligible, but it's like getting your foot into the door. So when you have to have your foot into the door, everything that matters has to be checklisted. You have to prepare a checklist of all these things. And mark that all these checklists have been ticked by me, in which personality, persona, is an equally important part of the story. And then there are certain times, certain organizations which handhold and take people on boards as well. Search out for those organizations and look up those sectors, connect with them, connect with the women board members, let them interact with the women so that they can handhold them, because nobody says there has to be just one woman. And at the end of the day, the tenure of women, of one particular woman, is limited. There has to be somebody else who's coming. So a collaborative approach would be very good if you guys take up an initiative to bring women on boards and bring a collaborative effect of picking a set of women, and they grow, and that's called handholding. So it's creating a second line. And then that second line then creates a third line. And we can say one board member would capacitate two. And when those two women get capacitated, they get capacitate another two. So I call it the pyramid effect. And I say that in a number of places for different capacities of women empowerment. And at the end of the time, at an end of an X period of time, we find it becomes a wave. It becomes a wave which is so forceful that it's omnipresent. Because so many number of women have got empowered in that sphere in that manner. And the challenges which they overcome to be going there get reduced when they are in so many numbers. Like, for example, 33% of the women are going to the parliament now. It never happened. In my time, we have fought for women empowerment, for women on parliament. They were just not allowed. There was just no reservation for women at all. And that is 30 years ago. And today we have it. So if we had this sphere starting today, few years ahead, it would not be a challenge. It would be an everyday affair. It would be a knowledge. It would be something which everybody would know and understand. Oh, yes, board members, yes, why not? What's so great about it? Of course I can be. And today it's, oh, how? How do I reach that step? So there are those kind of steps which really get you. And then when you make a profile for yourself for that, which you want to send across, create your profile, which hones you and explains you in crisp language. Don't overwrite, don't overdo. Your CV should not be more than 2 pages, because understand, nobody has a time. Nobody has time to go through pages and pages. of course, I'm guilty. I've sent you 7 pages because I didn't have the time to shorten it up. And you were so smart, you picked up the crisp sentences out of it. And I was feeling literally guilty because I couldn't update mine because it was so time poor. I said, okay, just push it. But that's not the right approach. If I was to put it for a board, I would hone it up to what it needs. Another very important point. You think you are you. Think in the other person's chair and think, what does he want? What do they want from you as a board member? If you were a committee of board, which was to nominate a board member, what are you looking for? For that, it's important to read the vision of the organization, the mission of the organization, the objectives of the organization, and where it stands in that mission. How is it that your being there will help them fulfill the mission and the vision of the organization? Because until and unless you hone up with them, you could be the best in a sphere, but that could be totally irrelevant. So your relevance to that organization and the people, because organization is not just the executive board, it's everybody. But since the selection is at the executive board level, so definitely the parameters have to be identified by the mission and vision document, which is again led by the board per se. So reading through that, going deep dive, understanding different organizations, the different competitiveness in the area, what is it that they would look for to grow outreach, grow bigger, and stuff like that would attract them because you're bringing value to the board. So you have to be very conscious about what is the value you bring to the board. And that value has to be convincing to say, yes, she's the right woman for us. And these are basically the kind of things which is important. There is board diversity, so that gives us an opportunity to say women are going to be on board. There is inclusion, means they have to take women on boards. There is gender equality, which says if there are, it's a 12-member board, there should be at least 5 women on board. So that's a huge capacity. The potential is huge. Right now, it's more of a mandatory compliance where there are 1 or 2. So the area is full of opportunities, but we have to hone ourselves in that direction and create ourselves to be the right and the best for it. And I think that's a sum total of how I would say is education part of the story. And that's how I relate, is where I started my journey, learning from it, and creating certain verticals. I was very passionate about XYZ things, so I created verticals. And when you're on a board, identify what you're delivering there. Create a statement. As I've shared when I was in different committees, I've shared with you, what did you deliver? What was the added advantage and benefit you brought to the system at large, to the stakeholders? That brings the delivery and the value. That's extremely important. That says you just don't talk about, I need it, I did it. What did you deliver? Because we are professionals and we are going for organizations which talk about deliveries. Even if it's a not-for-profit, it needs a delivery. The delivery is that maybe 100,000 people need clothes, or maybe 100,000 people need food. But that's a delivery. And what was my part of the delivery in that? Or if it was a pollution, what was the level of pollutions which was desired to be existing, whether by the parameters or whether by the organization, and what are the steps, and what did I do in that? Was there a policy I suggested? Was there a policy mechanism I held back and I said, no, this will not happen because this is for the betterment of the environment? All those are your key takes of the chocolates, which you say, this is my chocolate. You have to emphasize upon those things into your CV, and over the time, or when it becomes more and larger, then you can leave the past because you start getting identified as a personality. So a lot of things do exist, and one need not go 25 years ago, as I've just pushed the document to you. Now, just stick it to the relevant of 5 years, 4 years, because that's relevant. The very fact of your experience of saying I've been on such and such to such and so many talks for itself. And these are basically those things which I would like to share with all my women who are here who desire to be women on boards. I hope what I said has been meaningful, and I would love to interact with them and take some questions with them.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a
I would
really
like
relatable session. Shalina, ma'am.
Poonam, I just want to request all if they have any questions, they want to ask any questions from ma'am, so they can write their question in question answer tab. We can have those questions.
Okay, ma'am.
Am I audible?
In case you have any questions, in case you have any specific questions from ma'am, please feel free to write it in the Q&A area and we'll be sharing the answers with you. So as far as the LinkedIn contact is concerned, I'll be sharing the link. So ma'am, Ms. Shruti has asked that what is the time frame that a person should ideally look for their vertical to convert to incomes?
Just repeat again once more, please.
So the question is that what is the time frame that a person should ideally look for their vertical to convert to incomes?
Day one. Day one, you become a chartered accountant and qualified, start looking for your vertical. Don't waste even a single moment. Start honing your personality the day you get your certificate. There is no age bar. It's your
Rightly said,
unique
Deepa ma'am.
skill.
Yes, there is no age bar. There is no bar, I think. You can start at whatever stage you are. Just start thinking, start dreaming,
Start it
and
today.
start
Start
working
it
on
right
that.
now. I tell people, do it now, right now. Take up your pencil and say, okay, I'm here and now. That's it.
Deepa ma'am,
No waiting.
I also want to ask a question. Is there any platform or is there any organization or any site where we have to get ourselves registered for
Yes,
being
I have just
empaneled
shared
on
with Onam.
board?
There is Institute of Company Affairs. There's an organization which is in Gurgaon, and they have listing of people as well as they give courses for equipping capacity building of directors and capacity building of people who want to be directors, and also qualification which you must undergo before you can be selected to be a director.
So is there any exam which we have to qualify before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So please share with us the link for that or
I'll do that.
other information.
I'll do that. Okay. In the meantime, I'll check it up. I'll see on my email, and you put the next question. I'll do it. I'm a straightaway word person. I'll just check it up.
The next question is that in this competitive practice industry, how do we compete with very low charging professionals?
Yeah, just say again. I love these questions.
So Ms. Payal, she asked this question that in this competitive practice industry, how do we compete with very low charging professionals?
Just murder them.
So there are professionals.
Murder them. Because
So there's no need to compete with them. We are not in their competition.
No. Sorry, I'm going to talk very practical. If a chartered accountant is doing an ITR for 500 and I'm saying I'm going to take 12,000, a person is not going to look at my face and give 12,000. So let's be realistic. But today's world, again, I will say the challenges people like us had 30 years when we had just no tools like you guys have. I mean, so many times I just want to kill myself and rebirth again. Honestly. I mean, I just want to say, I didn't exist today. I'm just newborn. Because the kind of tools you guys have today is just amazing. The digitization, the tools, the processes which you exist today, you are not limited at all. I sometimes feel jealous of you guys. Honestly. I said, this is not fair. We didn't have them. It's all happening now. They have all the tools to be able to do that. I wish I had them when I was there at that stage of young when it's just budding out. It's creating your unique space, mind you. Creating your unique space. There exists a space. When you do something at the bottom, there is always many who will be doing it. Do you want to be one of the many, or do you want to be one of the few at the top? There's enough space at the top. It's a pyramid. Everything in life, whether it's profession, whether it's doing anything, there's always too many people at the bottom. But they're average. Do you want to be one of the many or not identified? Or do you want to hone yourself into being into that specialist category where if you need this, call me? And for that matter, you may have to give up something and say, that's where I say, the moment you qualify, identify what's your quality. Go to Clifton's personalities. In my biodata, I have even given you Clifton's course. So share that particular thing. It identifies the different personalities. Each of us human being is a different personality. Identify your unique skill set apart from being a chartered accountant. That will give you what will you be best at. And once you know that what you're best at, then try to put your energy into your strengths. It's a SWOT. So if you try to put your energies to say, I want to be best at everything in a SWOT, then you're putting energy on weaknesses, you will never excel. Find your strengths and put all your energy on your strength so that you're best at that. And there are different personalities. There are north, south, east, west personalities, mixed personalities. Clifton, which I've said, once you Google it up, you'll be able to read a lot. Share that. Or maybe if you ask me to come on another platform, I'll do some slides and I'll share that so that people really understand how they understand about themselves. And once you know that this is me, then you say, this is me, this matches with this or what I want to do. Like, for example, you're doing FEMA. So there must be something about FEMA you want to do it, or was it just by chance? I don't know. If it's by chance, then I do not know whether you're the right fit. I'm ready to say that. But if it is something you just love, when you work for it, you don't feel you're working. That's what is the road for you. Similarly, there are so many things we have. You could just be a consultant. I mean, why do I have to be an auditor? Why? Who told me? I'm a professional. I can be a strategist. I can be a goal maker. I can be a visionary. I can help you do so many things. I can help a startup, or I can help you do compliances, which is very standard, or I could just be a specialist in one particular area. Find your area. This is one education which has given you a platform to say you're a professional. Just stop it at that. You don't have to be an auditor. For today, I hate being an auditor because nobody wants inspectors. There are enough inspectors in the area. People are fed up. Give us something other than an inspector. So be a partner in growth. When you say we want to be your partner in growth, people want to smile. You tell an auditor, इतना लंबा चेहरा हो जाता है भाई ऑडिटर आ गया यार दिखाना है क्या नहीं दिखाने है तो खाने पे ले जाओ दिखाना कुछ मत ही नहीं बस अभी फाइल नहीं निकाल रहे मैम सिस्टम ही नहीं खुल रहा सिस्टम ही सिंक कर गया मैम कोई बग भी आ गया I mean, and I've seen that happening on the board on which I am. The auditor wanted a report and the company said that the system is not working for 2 days. And it's a listed company. It happens. So it's like auditors fear. So why do I want to get into a mode which is a fear? But if I love to be an inspector, then do that. Because there may be a personality in which says I want to be a controller. Then it's perfect. So identify what you want to do with what you want to do and take that path. When you take that path, you're bound to excel. And there'll already be fewer people because you are into a specialized category. You're funneling yourself. You're funneling yourself into a position where this is it and the output is far more sieved out as compared to everything making a khichdi of it. And when you are sieved out into it, then you have lesser things to look at and you put your energy in those things and you slowly go step by step. You find out Who are the best people in that area? What did they do? Read their profiles, understand what they did, what happened to make them excel, what challenges they faced, how did they overcome the barriers and challenges. All those things help you inculcate a persona and personality to handle a situation in which you want to put yourself or grow into. And it's a process. It's an ongoing process. And it doesn't have a start time or an end time. Every experience will make you learn and make you do something better for the next. But if you keep thinking, then you're just sitting on the shore. When I become the best, I will jump into the sea. Because then I'll be able to swim the sea. It's never like that. You jump into the sea, and as far as you won't drown is good enough, because you will do a little bit of it, and then your resilience in you will make you swim the rest. Don't be afraid to take a no. Do not be afraid to take a no. After there's a no, there will be a yes. Don't get disappointed if you're sending 100 buyers and you didn't get one yes. Doesn't matter. You didn't lose anything. You sent. It was an experience. Let me see what's missing out, which I need to add, where I need to put, what is it that I need to hone so that it gets through the door. But starting the process is most important. Next.
Very true, Deepa ma'am. Actually, you have encouraged a lot, and really thankful to you. We have a certificate of appreciation for you. I'll request our NIRC, who is coordinating from NIRC. Please present a token of appreciation for Deepa ma'am. I think they are not listening. So within a short span of time, we'll have that. You proceed, Onam.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this very radical session on directorship. It was a very brain-wrecking session and very relatable also, especially when you said that, you have hiccups when you enter a room full of men and, you hesitate to speak up your points, especially if it's not aligning with what they all are saying. So it was really enlightening to get this point-wise, action path on how we can take up directorship.
Thank you. Sure. And I have some questions. I'll answer them as well. So thank you.
Yes.
I am radical. That's what I'm called for. And I'm a motivational speaker. So that's it. I'm setting up my YouTube channel, which says Deepa Gupta _inspirer. Yes, I'm known to be an inspired motivational speaker.
That's wonderful, ma'am. We can truly see that in you also.
Thank you.
We have our second speaker, Anchal ji. She has also spared time from her very busy schedule. Thank you so much, Anchal ji, for joining with us.
It's my pleasure.
And before we start with Anchal ji, I just want that all the participants and all others who wish to be our speaker or want to become a moderator, so you can do message me. I'll convey my number. My phone number is 92-163-57899. CA Shalini Gupta. Because we just want to create a platform कि हमें सोचना नहीं पड़े अगर हमारे दिल में कोई if we have quality or we want to participate, तो एक platform specially हमने create किया है. This Shakti series also and all other series, आप जिस भी topic पे बोलना चाहते हैं, so do let me know. We'll try कि हम उसको आगे इस series को और successfully conduct करें और platform दें women chartered accountants को especially. Onam can start with the other proceedings.
So our second speaker for the day is CA Anchal Kapoor ji. So I'm very elated to introduce her because we hail from the same hometown, Amritsar. Talking about her, she has an excellent academic career where she's got the 3rd rank all over India in CAPE1, and she's a gold medalist in BCom. She has an experience of more than a decade and has carved a niche in the field of GST and is a renowned faculty in the National Academy of Customs, Indirect Taxes and Narcotics, which is the GST Officers Training Cell. She's a master trainer in Punjab SGST and CGST. She is a approved faculty of ICAI and she's an author to ICAI's various GST publications, and other elite journals. Ma'am, we would like to hear some words from you.
Thank you, Sonam, for introducing me. And Shalini, ma'am, what a series you have planned. What the name and what the timings. I must appreciate. During this Navratras, you have planned this Shakti series, which itself is a very motivational. And hi, Deepa, ma'am. To the extent I could listen you, was a pleasure listening indeed. And I am very thankful to our vice chairperson, and I take so privilege in saying that, Shalini ma'am, when I say vice chairperson, who herself is an example that how we should come up. And I know that this journey has not been easy for you. And for all the participants who have joined today, I would say that she is also one of the inspirational lady that yes, the glitches come, the hiccups are there, but how you have to overcome that. So with this, I would say, yes, this feminism I always consider is a jewel. So we must adore it. We must appreciate it. Bhagwan ne Lakshmi, Saraswati और Shakti, Saraswati सब women को ही powers दी है. So we should use that. So I would start it with the 2 lines that those who ever feel ki our confidence is not going up, it is only in your mind and in your brain. One step, the first step is always tough. And when you take the first step, the ladder, the steps are very easy to be climbed up. So I would say, tu khud ki khoj mein nikal, tu kis liye udaas hai, tu chal tere वजूद की समय को भी तलाश है. So it is only the time, and when you will take the efforts, when you will put in there, the results will be there. So with this, without taking much time, I know we all have been busy in bank audits, and when Shalini ma'am called me up last week, so I thought that what else can be better than the bank audit itself combined with GST. So we can discuss those things कि जब हम बैंक ऑडिट करने जाते हैं तो कौन-कौन से इश्यूज जो हैं वो हम टेक अप कर सकते हैं. So it's going to be a very crisp session of around 40-45 minutes. And I want all of you to be with me. I am going to share the PPT. And as madam always plans some unique name, I also thought that I should also link GST like bank audit chess. And I tried to put in that. And let me open the chat box too, so that I can connect with all the Shaktis present today. And of course, the men over there. So let me open this slideshow. Okay. I hope the slideshow is visible. All right. So are you all ready? Can I see a few thumbs up in the chat box that I will be able to connect you all? एक दो thumbs up तो बनते हैं. Am I right? Are you all ready for the GST moves in the bank audit? अच्छा, अगर आपसे मैं पूछूं कि बैंक ऑडिट में what all you want to check for? So a number of things कि कौन सी इनकम टैक्सेबल होनी चाहिए, कौन सी इनकम एग्जेम्प्ट होनी चाहिए, बैंक्स आईटीसी कैसे लेंगे, एंड बिकॉज दिस इज ऑल द पार्ट ऑफ द बैलेंस शीट. और जिस तरह से आप अपने क्लाइंट का ऑडिट करते हैं, सी आई ऑलवेज टेक द बैंक ऑडिट एज यू आर डूइंग इट फॉर अ नॉर्मल पर्सन. Normal taxpayer, normal 3CD audit, normal statutory audit, which you are doing for the companies. So likewise is the bank audit. So one thing I want to confirm, is the chat box enabled? Is the chat box enabled?
I think so, ma'am. People are pouring in queries. So chat box is enabled.
Yeah, because those all were in Q&A session now. So yes, that is why I was like, because Ankita has also put the message in the there only. Anyhow, all right. So I think so it's enabled. Okay. So now if I talk about what are the GST moves in bank audit, whenever you are going for the bank audit, always think, right, Anupam ji, thank you so much. So whenever you go for bank audit, aap ye dekhiye, I always make it in the Excel format. Short karke, what are the assets, what are the liability, what are the incomes, and what are the expenditure in a very short nutshell. Now see, पैसा कहाँ से flow कर रहा है, कहाँ लगा हुआ है, कौन सी इनकम्स आ रही हैं, कौन से एक्सपेंसेस हो रहे हैं, so that you will be able to scrutinize the same. Nowadays 3CD tax audit has been discontinued. Even some banks says the GST will be taken up at the regional level because हमारे GST का नंबर जो है वो स्टेट वाइज होता है. But still when you are signing the balance sheets, आप जब उसको चेक कर रहे हो, क्या बैंक आरसीएम के खर्चों पे जो एक्सपेंसेस है क्या उन पे आरसीएम डिस्चार्ज कर रहा है, एंड ऑल दोज थिंग्स नीड्स टू बी कंसिडर्ड फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ बैंक ऑडिट. सो वेरी ब्रीफली आई एम गोइंग टू टेक दोज पॉइंट्स. अगर मैं बात करूं क्या जीएसटी लगना चाहिए, एब्सोल्युटली यस. गुड्स की डेफिनेशन में ओनली मनी एंड सिक्योरिटीज आते हैं. अच्छा, क्विक क्वेश्चन एंड आई वांट फ्यू ऑफ यू टू आंसर. Friends, it doesn't matter right or wrong. It's only matters that we are going to learn together some good things. और जो points अभी हम discuss करेंगे, that is even applicable to other audits also to quite an extent. So if I ask you कि क्या बैंकर को e-invoicing करना है, yes or no? Quickly, just yes or no. क्या बैंकर को e-invoice करना है? Is it mandatory for them? My second question, bankers goods में deal करते हैं? Yes, they deal in many types of goods, in many other invoice exempt from e-invoicing देता है. So उसको करना हो. They are supposed to issue the tax invoice before. Is there any problem with my voice?
Ma'am, just the last question that you had asked, at that time only there was voice breakage. Before that, it was clear. So your question about invoice, starting from that, your voice was unclear.
There might be some problem. Okay, Archana ji, thank you so much. Thank you. Am I audible?
And now it's perfectly fine. You can very well continue.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Great. In case it breaks, so I will repeat that point again. Okay, so friends, what at least I got to know through the chat box that you all are connected with me, huh? All right. So now if I say कि क्या banks आपको जब आपसे GST recover करते हैं, when they provide you services, do they issue you any tax invoice? Yes or no? Do they issue you any tax invoice? Answer is no. Ankita ji, kab aata hai tax invoice? It's not there. It is only your bank statement that you get to know, अच्छा मुझे ये charges लगे हैं, उसके ऊपर इतना GST पड़ा है. So we will consider all those points and how we will be proceeding for their ITC checking. So अगर मैं बात करूँ goods की, money and securities goods से तो out है. Money and securities are not the part of goods. As well as money and securities is not the part of even the services, but services includes the activities relating to use of money or its conversion by cash or by any other mode. Meaning thereby banks, तुम जो transaction कर रहे हो, तुम कर तो money में रहे हो. अब मनी में कैसे कर रहे हो? आई हैव गिवन द डेफिनेशन ऑफ मनी ऑल्सो. अब मैं आपसे एक लाइव केस डिस्कस करूंगी. फ्रेंड्स, हम कभी कभी एग्जाम जो डेफिनेशंस होती है, वी समटाइम्स ओवरकम दोस डेफिनेशन. अच्छा, ये तो यही बताया हुआ है. एंड आई टेल यू विद दिस डेफिनेशन ऑफ मनी टू क्लॉज 75, वी हैव गॉट द केस इन आवर फेवर which was for quite a huge amount. Now, how come? I give you an example. The party was dealing in some Airtel money. Party had not paid any GST on the same. Aajkal Airtel money and all those recharges and those are things which are quite in trend. So he was dealing in Airtel money. GST department issued him the notice that you have shown your exempt sale of entire of your amount and how it can be exempt. You are supposed to pay GST on the same. Now, when we check the definition of money, we always say there is no GST on money and securities. right? So what is the definition of money? Yes, the checks, the promissory notes, the bill of exchange, the drafts, the letter of credits, the traveler check, the money orders, all these are called as the part of money. So bank, you are to dealing in all these things. और sir, जिसकी मैं Airtel money की बात कर रही हूँ, that Airtel money, if you see, I got a document written from them कि आपका जो Airtel के साथ agreement हुआ, you just forward me the copy of the same. When I checked that, I found that is covered under RBI regulations. And now you see the definition. It includes the instruments. Have a look. It includes the instruments that are recognized by the RBI when used as a consideration to settle an obligation. So क्या होता था? उसके पास person जाता है, वो बोलता है मुझे Airtel money ये लो 1000 and give me the Airtel money of 1000 rupees, which is used by that person to discharge and settle an obligation. So I said your transaction is purely in the nature of money, क्योंकि ये money itself है. It is itself a money. There will be no GST levied on the same. So whenever you are reading the law, may it be the definition part, may it be the anything, you need to be very concentrated on the same and how to deal with the same. Now, banks, you are dealing in money, all those things that I mentioned here. Now the question comes, but you are charging certain amount for the use of that money, may it be interest, processing charges, may discounting charges, may it be the checkbook charges, you are converting by cash or by any other mode. Hence, it will all be taxable under the head services. If I say that, if any extra amount in the form of commission, fee, I am repeating Ankita ji a little. If extra amount is charged in the form of commission, fee, brokerage, service charges, documentation charges, then it will all be subject to GST. In this PPT, I have made a complete list of what can be the incomes of the bank, how they can be put to tax, at what rate, under what SAC code, and what are the incomes that are exempt from the tax. How banks are, on what expenses the banks are supposed to pay the RCM. Now, here if I say, if I come to the next point, banks do raise invoices for local rent. Mr. Khanna, I do come to that also. They can raise the invoices. There is no barring in that. But for everything, they are not supposed to raise the invoices. This is what I wanted to highlight. And when I will come to the invoice point, I will definitely touch it upon. Now, so what I want is to say, although now I take an example. A is carrying a $40 transaction and it wants to convert it into INR. He goes to the bank and gets the INR converted. Now, this transaction of 2,400 is not subject to GST. However, if the bank charges for the conversion, that will be in the nature of service and will become taxable. Now, I'm taking the issues one by one. First, place of supply. For banks, the normal place of supply, if the recipient is located in India, and you are not dealing with any recipient who is outside India, it is covered by section 12 of IGST Act, and it will always be the location of the service recipient. It means the account holder, the person who is getting the draft made. So it is the location of the recipient of services on the records. So what as an auditor we are supposed to do? We need to check that the account address of the person concerned on the sample basis are correctly fed. And in case you come across any incidents where, now see how I relate. You are checking some loan account. There you find that the person has changed his address, but the address on record is not correctly mentioned by the bank. Now, in this case, although the other implications will arise, although you will talk about the KYC norms, along with that, an issue will pop up that the place of supply in case of GST has not been appropriately taken up. Hence, the output tax paid by the bank is incorrect. right? So we need to check the address. In case it is not available, somebody has come for some over-the-counter transaction, not maintaining the accounts. Cash payment ke upar, a limited amount of drafts can be made. That has been made, or some other transaction. If generally this case is not found normally, but in case such exists, then it is the location of the bank. Now question comes, if a bank is providing services to any client located outside India, so it will be the location of the bank that will be considered as the place of supply. Friends, if the banks are taking the benefit of some export services or other services, place of location, the place of supply is very, very important. Right? So we can check the place of supply based upon section 1212 or 13.8 of IGST Act. Now, banks, do you deal in goods? Yes, many a times banks deals in goods. When the banks, now have a look. Now, Mr. Khanna, I am coming to your point of invoicing altogether. Goods, whenever you are supplying the goods, you have to issue the invoice before or at the time of removal. Before or at the time of removal. Now, if I talk about services, in case of services, the normal time period for other than the banking or financial services or insurance services is 30 days. But banking company, including NBFCs, you are given 45 days from the date of supply. So it is 45 days from the date of supply that will be their time limit for issuing the invoice. So Mr. Khanna, yeah, that will be covered. They are supposed to issue the invoice within 45 days from the date of supply of services. And if they are supplying services to their own other branches, means to the distinct person, one branch to another branch, और इसमें ISD का concept भी आएगा, which is very much in vogue these days. पहले एक circular आया था, previous period के लिए ISD compulsory नहीं था, but for the higher levels, for the central statutory auditors and the other auditors, they need to check the ISD component of the taxes have been properly disclosed for. But for invoicing, when they are dealing in the transactions with a distinct person, with their other branches and all, they have to raise the invoice at the time of such supplier records the same in their books or before the expiry of the quarter. So on quarterly basis of entire quarter, they are supposed to raise the invoice, or else they are supposed to do it at the time when they are recording it in their books of accounts. अब हम बात करते हैं tax invoice and some special cases. Okay, let me, आप में से Dimple जी ने, she told me that e-invoicing is not mandatory for banks. Am I right, Dimple ji? Now my question comes is, when the banks are supplying the goods, say it be the gold, आजकल तो वैसे there are certain restriction, or any assets they are disposing of, fixed assets they are disposing of, are they supposed to raise the e-invoice for the goods? Quickly, yes or no in the chat box. Quickly, yes or no in the chat box. Yes, all right. So, Dimple ji, we will read a FAQ together. Shruti ji saying no, all right. So, let's see who wins. Shruti ji, absolutely correct. No. Now let's read how the things goes in this case. Now in this case, it says that yes, tax invoice should be serially numbered. Now see the rule 54.2. Insurer, banking company, or financial institution may issue a consolidated tax invoice or any other document, whether serially numbered or not, whether physically or electronically, whether containing the address of the recipient or not, whether signed with digital signature or not. It means your bank statement will also be counted as other document when the bank says 100 rupees are the processing charges and 18 rupees is the tax on the same. So 118, they are not under the mandatory condition to issue the invoice, but they can, any other document issued by them whether that contains the particulars of an invoice or not, like I mentioned, physically or electronically, serially numbered or not, containing the address or not, containing the digital signature or not, will be a sufficient compliance. One thing. Secondly, if I talk about, yes, they are supposed to pay GST on the banking and other financial services, it is 18%. Friends, एक बात याद रखना, पहली एक चीज टैक्सेबल होगी, उसके बाद उसका एग्जेम्पशन चेक होगा. अगर मैं सर्विसेज की बात करूं, आई गिव यू अ सिंपल फंडा, 11/2017 CT रेट, 11/2017 CT रेट में सब सर्विसेज के टैक्स रेट्स दिए हुए along with their SAC codes. So it should be SAC, but it's okay. So it should be SAC codes दिए हुए. Then 12/2017 CT rate contains all the exemptions which are pertaining to those services. So पहले एक चीज taxable होगी, whatever is there will become taxable in GST, barring a few things like your liquor and 5 petroleum products. Everything is covered under the net of GST. Now my question to you is whether the bank interest is taxable, yes or no. And अभी हम बैंक के perspective से बात कर रहे हैं. The bank charging the interest on the loan account income to the bank, are they supposed to pay tax? Is it taxable or not? Taxable or not? So I would say it is taxable but exempted. So ultimately the banks are not supposed to discharge the tax on the same. Now I come to e-invoicing applicability. Yes, 5 crore se upar e-invoicing has been made mandatory with effect from August 2023. However, your cinema halls, insurers, banking sector, financial institution, NBFCs are exempt from applicability of e-invoices. Now, Dimple ji, to answer the question which I raised, as per Circular 186, exemption from generation of e-invoice is for the entity as a whole and is not restricted by its nature of supply, meaning thereby a banking company providing banking services may be involved in supply of some goods like gold, like bullions. The said banking company is exempted for mandatory issuance of e-invoice. I hope Dimple ji and all others have got their answers. Now, very important point which we can miss is the TDS. A very, very important concept. Whatever entities which are government entities or the government departments we are dealing with are covered by TDS, and your banks are also covered by the same. So, आपका बैंक अगर 2.5 लाख से ऊपर किसी पर्सन को पेमेंट कर रहा है, they are supposed to pay they are supposed to deduct 2% TDS on the same. Right? So 2% is the rate of TDS. Now, who are supposed to do it? Have a look. I have simplified the provision for you. TDS departments, yes, central government के departments को लगता है, local authorities को लगता है, government agencies को लगता है, and where the banks are covered. एक notification आया था 50/2018. Certainly, Khanna sir, I just repeated in a while. Let me just touch upon this and then I come back to it. Notified persons notified by notification 50/2018 has the public sector undertakings. So banks being covered by the public sector undertakings will be covered under the TDS provisions. Right? Now, let me go back to Mr. Khanna's issue. What Mr. Khanna has asked for. Sir, I was talking about Circular 186. Banks को e-invoicing से exception था कि banks आपको e-invoicing करने का requirement नहीं है. Now, a question arose. क्या ये जो requirement है e-invoicing ना करने का, ये entity as a whole के लिए है? यानी banks कुछ भी करें, या फिर ओनली इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ द सप्लाईज इन द बैंकिंग नेचर। अब बैंक्स गुड सेल करते हैं, बैंक्स और किसी चीज में डील करते हैं, तो क्या उनको वहां पर इनवॉइस जनरेट करना है? बिकॉज दे आर क्रॉसिंग द लिमिट ऑफ 5 crores. So the circular clarified that banks are exempt from e-invoicing as an entity, as a whole. As a result, they are not supposed to do the e-invoicing for anything. So in this case, this is what I wanted to say through the circular 186. I hope I could make the point clear to Khanas ji and to all. Right? All right. Chaliye. Now, if I move forward, public sector undertakings we were talking about. My pleasure. Now, public sector undertakings, PSUs, are covered. So banks TDS के issue जरूर टैक्स चेक कर लीजिएगा. And let me tell you, I have been getting so many calls from so many professionals these days for multiple banks that we are getting lots of notices. May it be the CGST, may it be generally CGST have been doing, and many SGST audits have also been undertaken of the banks, and many notices have been issued to the banks for various reasons. Maybe there is construction in the premises of the bank, whether the TDS has been deducted or not, and the first question comes, on what issues the banks can be supposed to pay. First, stationery items, towels, furniture, contracts are given, air conditioning machines, electrical goods, books and periodicals. All these are the things which are covered under the preview. What are the services that can be covered? Banks take security services, car rental services, generator rental services, office rental services. All these services are again to be checked. If the quantum is exceeding the limit of 2,50,000, the banks are supposed to deduct TDS on the same. And what about the composite supply? Yes, bank has taken any works contract service, not road bridge, but they have got for the building construction, renovation, repairing, maintenance service. They're supposed to deduct the TDS on the same. One thing, make it very, very clear. This applies when the contract exceeds 2,50,000. Second, TDS is applicable only on the taxable supplies to be seen. If the supplies are exempt supplies, TDS will not be applicable, and total contract value to be seen, excluding the GST portion. So for the edge cases, TDS, TCS हमेशा taxable supplies पे लगता है. 2.5 लाख से ऊपर का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होगा तो उस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट वैल्यू पे जीएसटी काटा जाएगा. एग्जेम्प्टेड निल रेटेड पर नहीं लगे. रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन को पेमेंट करते हैं, TDS इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल. TDS के लिए सामने वाला पर्सन रजिस्टर्ड होना चाहिए. एंड चलिए मैं अभी उसको लिंक करूंगी. वैसे RCM में अगर पर्सन अनरजिस्टर्ड है, पेमेंट is made to an unregistered person, TDS will not be applicable. Where tax is to be paid on reverse charge basis, so this slide contains the point where the TDS is not to be deducted. Reverse charge basis पर TDS नहीं लगता है, cess component पे TDS नहीं लगता है. Contract value 2.5 लाख से, अब एक पर्सन बोलता है मैंने separate contracts कर लिए for supply. So in that case, each contract, though their combined value is exceeding, but if there are separate contracts, the TDS will not be applicable, right? So, and in TDS also, you are supposed to check whether it is to be deducted under SGST, UGST, CGST or IGST. So if it is an intra-supply or it is an inter-supply, how the TDS is to be deducted? TDS, in this case, although friends, I have given a number of examples, but due to the time constraint, I'm not taking up TDS at such a length. So you can check, अगर location of supplier, छोटा सा point बताती हूँ, अगर location of supplier or a place of supply different states में है, meaning thereby, मैं registered हूँ पंजाब में, और the place of supply comes out to be Delhi, मैं उसका टीडीएस कैसे जमा कराऊंगी, क्योंकि वन नेशन वन टैक्स नहीं है, वन नेशन वन टैक्स नहीं है। सो इन दैट केस आप टीडीएस डिडक्ट ही नहीं करेंगे। हाउएवर इफ इट इज एन इंट्रा सप्लाई, हरियाणा का पर्सन है, हरियाणा में ही कर रहा है, आप उसका इंट्रा स्टेट में टीडीएस काटेंगे। आईजीएसटी होगा, आप उसका टीडीएस डिडक्ट करा सकते हैं, लेकिन जहां पे स्टेट डिफरेंसेस होंगे वहां पे टीडीएस के प्रोविजंस नहीं लगेंगे। मैंने इस चीज को बहुत अच्छे से इस पूरे एग्जाम्पल में क्वांटिफाई भी किया है और इसके प्रोविजंस भी बताए हैं कि कोलकाता है, प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई भी कोलकाता है, एंड व्हाट कैन बी द एग्जांपल। सो इन केस परचेजेस द गुड्स फ्रॉम दिल्ली एंड सो ऑन, हाउ द टीडीएस विल बी एप्लीकेबल। सी, जहां पे स्टेट बदलती है, यहां कोलकाता का था, इंट्रास्टेट ही बन रहा है, दिल्ली पंजाब इंटरस्टेट बन रहा है, बट यहां दिल्ली और वेस्ट बंगाल बन रहा है। सो इन दैट केस TDS will not be deducted. Now, किन cases में लग सकता है? A complete checklist is in front of you. Moving ahead from the TDS provisions, I come to ITC, heart and soul of GST. Maximum notices to banks have even been issued under ITC provisions. उनको भी notices आते हैं, आपने 2A को comply नहीं किया, and so on. Now, in this case, आईटीसी, चलिए एक बात बताइए, बैंक्स के केस में क्या प्रोविजन है, वो आईटीसी कैसे ले सकते हैं? दे हैव टू ऑप्शंस। व्हाट? फर्स्ट, जैसे आप लेते हैं 17(2) में, सर मैडम बैंक के इंटरेस्ट एग्जेम्प्ट है और इंटरेस्ट बैंक की इनकम का एक मेजर चंक होता है। सो उनको एक ऑप्शन दी गई, या तो आप नॉर्मल रूल 42 43 लगवा लीजिए, प्रपोर्शन कर लीजिए, जो सर्विसेज का जो जिनका आउटपुट टैक्सेबल है उनका आप पूरा ले लीजिए, और जो कॉमन क्रेडिट्स है उनका आप प्रोपोर्शनेट बेसिस पे ले लीजिए, लाइक यू नॉर्मली अप्लाई रूल 42 43 फॉर एनी अदर टैक्स पेयर। बट अगर आप नहीं आना चाहते, सो यू हैव एन ऑप्शन, 50% ऑफ आईटीसी लीजिए ऑफ इनपुट्स, कैपिटल गुड्स एंड इनपुट सर्विसेज, और 50% छोड़ दीजिए। कोई चक्कर नहीं देखने का कितना टैक्सेबल है, कितना एग्जेम्प्ट है, देयर इज नो इश्यू। बट हाँ, एक चीज और बेनिफिट दे देंगे, जो आपके अपने डिस्टिंक्ट पर्सन के साथ ट्रांजैक्शन होंगी उसमें आपको 50% का क्लॉज भी नहीं लगेगा। इसका मतलब 50% ऑफ आईटीसी इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल इन केस ऑफ डिस्टिंक्ट पर्सन, उसमें आपको 100% क्रेडिट मिल जाएगा। सो इट इज द ऑप्शन ऑफ द बैंक। Most of the banks have gone for 50% of ITC. But yesterday in my branch, I found out कि 50% of ITC और कैपिटल गुड्स, तो वो कैपिटल गुड्स की वैल्यू में ऐड कर रहे हैं और 50% का आईटीसी ले रहे हैं। एक बात याद रखिएगा, आईटीसी अगर कैपिटल गुड्स का पार्ट बन गया तो उसके ऊपर डेप्रिसिएशन क्लेम हो जाएगा, और जिस पोर्शन पे डेप्रिसिएशन क्लेम हो जाएगा वो कभी आईटीसी अलाउड नहीं होगा। सो एज अ रिजल्ट कैपिटल गुड्स में तो दे वर एब्सोल्युटली डूइंग करेक्ट। जो उनका बिल आया 52,000 का बिल, 50,000 समथिंग का बिल था, उसके ऊपर आईजीएसटी लगा था। 50,000 में 50% ऑफ टैक्स ऐड किया, कैपिटल एसेट में ले गए और 50% आईटीसी के अकाउंट में खड़ा कर दिया। बट इन केस ऑफ इनपुट्स इट वाज नॉट गेटिंग डन। एंटायर अमाउंट ऑफ इनपुट का जो पूरा 100% था वो P&L में ही डेबिट कर दिया गया था। 50% ऑफ आईटीसी ऑफ बैंक which they were eligible to take on inputs had not been taken. So it's a financial loss to the bank. Right? Now, if I move forward, अब इस पे issues क्या आते हैं? A few days back I got a query 2A. So जिस तरह से आपको नोटिसेस आते हैं, बैंक्स को भी नोटिसेस आते हैं कि आपने उसके अकॉर्डिंग जो आपने पे करना था, इनपुट क्रेडिट लेना था, that has not been appropriately taken. Now here is the list. What can be the taxable incomes that can be earned? First, interest income is a taxable supply but the same has been made exempted by way of, मैंने क्या कहा था, exemption किस notification में है, 12/2017 CT rate. So that has been made exempted. So interest of the banks is an exempted income. But अब इसमें issue क्या आता है? Sometimes the nomenclature of a particular thing is being used as interest, but that is not in the nature of interest. So we need to check कि जो interest है वो interest की nature का होना चाहिए और कुछ और charges interest के नाम पे recover करके उसमें ना डाल दिए गए. Right? Second, credit card interest in credit card services is taxable. Commission income of the banks is taxable. Brokerage income is taxable. Agency charges are taxable. Portfolio management charges are taxable. Account maintenance charges are taxable, including your locker charges. Right? Although this is the entire list of incomes, credit or debit card charges, yes, GST will be levied on the interchange fees also when charged by the banks. Digital payment facilities charges which are taken by the bank. Foreign, yes, sale and purchase of foreign currency. जैसे बैंक्स को आईटीसी में ऑप्शन है कि दे कैन टेक फुल आईटीसी और कैन टेक 50%, वैसे ही रूल 32 भी बैंक्स के पास अवेलेबल है. अगर आप सेल एंड परचेज ऑफ फॉरेन करेंसी में डील करते हो तो या तो आप हर ट्रांजैक्शन पे टैक्स दे सकते हो, अदरवाइज रूल 32 के अकॉर्डिंग नॉशनल वैल्यूज पे जीएसटी दे सकते हो. बैंक all the penalties, fees which you are taking, other than, and this is important, and this has been introduced by Circular 178, जो clarify किया गवर्नमेंट ने कि जो फाइन और पेनल्टी ऑन डिसऑनर ऑफ चेक होता है उसके ऊपर जीएसटी नहीं लगता है, उसके ऊपर जीएसटी नहीं लगता है. Right now, if I move forward, this was the list of entire, some other taxable incomes. I have put guarantee charges, demand draft issuance, inspection charges. Acha, this will also work as your revenue audit list. कौन से charges लग सकते हैं banks को? Commission charges, demand draft charges, documentation charges, inspection, ledger folio, processing fee. All these are liable to tax. Now, what are the exempt incomes? First and foremost is your interest or discounts. Second, sale or purchase of foreign currency. अगर बैंक टू बैंक ट्रांजैक्शन होगी, ऑथराइज्ड डीलर टू ऑथराइज्ड डीलर ट्रांजैक्शन होगी, फॉरेन करेंसी का परचेज और सेल एग्जेम्प्ट है. और एक चीज और बता दूं, सेल एंड परचेज ऑफ फॉरेन करेंसी में इंडियन रुपीज दिया और डॉलर लिया, ये सेल में भी टैक्सेबल है और ये परचेज में भी टैक्सेबल है, क्योंकि एक करेंसी दी और एक ली. सो स्पेसिफिकली जब हम फॉरेन करेंसी वालों के साथ डील करते हैं, सो वी नीड टू चेक. हाउएवर, ऑथराइज्ड डीलर टू ऑथराइज्ड डीलर, बैंक टू बैंक, बैंक टू मनी एक्सचेंजर, जो ट्रांजैक्शन है वो एग्जेम्प्ट रहता है. नाउ एनपीए का रियलाइजेशन, इट इज एन एक्शनेबल क्लेम. It is an actionable claim. There are two views which are more popular in the overall segments. Some says it is actionable claim, even then it is not a supply. Even if you consider as an outright sale, it will be a supply, but it will remain exempt by the notification 12/17. So realization of payment from an NPA is not a transaction to be covered under GST. Likewise, बिल डिस्काउंटिंग, जितना इंटरेस्ट पोर्शन है वो एग्जेम्प्ट रहेगा. अगर आपके फॉरवर्ड करेंसी के कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स हैं या फ्यूचर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स है, डेरिवेटिव कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स है, डेरिवेटिव्स बीइंग द सिक्योरिटीज आर आउटसाइड द प्रीव्यू. सो दिस इज अ कंप्लीट लिस्ट. लेजर फोलियो चार्जेस, जितना इंटरेस्ट कंपोनेंट होगा, सो वी नीड टू चेक कि कहीं नॉमेनक्लेचर गलत तो नहीं किया गया. आपके बैंक में जो इनकम्स इसमें से फॉल करती हैं, यू कैन चेक फ्रॉम दिस लिस्ट कि कौन सी इनकम टैक्सेबल रहेंगी और कौन सी इनकम एग्जेम्प्ट रहेंगी. आजकल प्रधानमंत्री जनधन योजना, delay in payment of EMI, etc., and the government has come up with the circulars on the same. So with these incomes of penal interest in case of delay of payments, dishonoring of check and penalty, all these incomes I have given here which remain exempt. Right? Last point I'm coming towards is RCM, रिकवरी एजेंट के साथ ट्रांजैक्शन हो, DSA के साथ, डायरेक्ट सेलिंग एजेंट्स के साथ, एडवोकेट्स के साथ, बिजनेस फैसिलिटेटर्स के साथ. सो दीज आर सम ऑफ द थिंग्स. अब जो एडवोकेट्स हैं, they must ensure, the auditors in case of advocate services must ensure who is doing the payment. So auditors, to ensure that the bank uske liye withhold karta hai for the payment of RCM on legal fee paid on premises that these services are availed on account of their customers, and when the legal fee is debited to customers account. So advocate fee ke upar unko pay karna hai. Security services, and a number of notices have been raised where sometimes on security services the GST has not been paid. So with this, I have given here that some other points which are a little technical, कि distinct persons क्या है, कहाँ eligibility रहेगी, and foreign currency की sale or purchase. See, from the registered person to registered person, or otherwise किस तरह से, in case you want to check how the GST should be levied, I have given both the option in that case, notional basis as well as on the actual basis. So all those circulars which we discussed here, 102, 178 and all, I have put in here. So with this, I just end up my deliberation. And here, one thing more I want to highlight. Here I have given the checklist. Yeah, here it is. What, being an auditor, should be the checklist for bank audit. Verify the registration details, and in case they are issuing the consolidated or the tax invoices, those have been issued properly. Incomes, क्या क्या आपको इंटरबैंक ट्रांजैक्शंस को सेपरेट करना है, ISD का पेमेंट देखना है, वेंडर्स को 180 डेज में पेमेंट का क्राइटेरिया बैंक्स पर भी एप्लीकेबल है, RCM की पेमेंट्स को चेक करना है. So this is a checklist of what are the points that can be considered. And yes, the 2B now is also need to be matched in case of banks also. So with this, I just end up my deliberation. Hope the voice was I was audible and I could do it in a proper way. Over to you.
It was absolutely audible, ma'am. And people were very interactive also in the chat box. So they were enjoying your session.
Thank you so much, Dimple ji. Definitely the PPT has been made and will be shared. And you know, Shalini ma'am, to reach for the webinar today was a task for me. We were really struck on the roads and the roads were blocked. There was some landslidings. I was unable to go back to the bank even and to come to the hotel. So I was so worried that how I will be reaching and will be deliberating. So मैं हंस रही थी आज कि अगर कुछ नहीं हुआ तो फोन का नेटवर्क ऑन कर यहीं से देना पड़ेगा. तो बच्चे हंस रहे थे, मैम पीछे से पत्थर गिर रहे हैं और आप आगे वेबिनार दे रहे होंगे. So but with God's grace, I was able to make it. Yeah, please.
Thank you so much, Anshul, and proud of you. So, audience के लिए हमारा shining star है CA professional female chartered accountant में. I think there is no match to her. She has spoken some webinars all over India, and she is so reachable to us. एक मतलब she's so down to earth. जितनी
Please. I told you are an inspiration indeed.
Really thankful. आज वो लेज़ी हैं और हमें भी ठंडी हवा.
Ma'am, actually your voice is also not coming properly to me because it is cracking. I could only hear a few words. So what I just want to say to the participants today, that because every bank or branch has its own issues and perspectives, I have covered the topics at length in the PPT. So wherever they feel like, so they can run through the PPT and kind of find out those points. So that, and yes, that will definitely be shared to the platform of NIRC. A question was there to which I was replying actually.
No, ma'am. In fact, it was a very detailed and an intricate session. So you've tried to, summarize the things in a very simple language.
No, it's my pleasure indeed. And if there is any query, I think so. Renu Sharma Madam has written a question. In case when a taxable person who deposits in banks and interest. Renu ma'am, I was waiting that this question was going to come because I explained it from the banker's viewpoint and not from the person's viewpoint. So now, Renu ma'am, we take your example. You go to the bank and you have made an FD of 2 crores in your name, and you are earning interest on the same. So will this it be his exempt income and to be entered in GSTR1? Renuji, जैसे I give the example that you out of your own funds, which was your funds, और आपने उसको deposit कराया है बैंक में. These are not in the course or furtherance of business. When these are not in the course or furtherance of business, this will not even qualify as a supply even. So जब मैं कहती हूँ ये supply भी नहीं बनेगा, meaning thereby कि इसके ऊपर मैं rule 42, 43 भी नहीं लगाऊंगी, ये exempt income नहीं है, और ना ही ये मेरे टर्नओवर में, एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर में काउंट होगा, because it is not in the nature of supply, does not qualify to be supply as per section 7. But sometimes what happens, where the question mark comes, let's suppose a company has got some funds with them, which is out of their business proceeds. वो कंपनी के फंड्स है and they make a business FDR for the same because the funds were lying idle. So in that case, it might qualify as a supply. Department will say it will be the part of aggregate turnover and all that. Then in that case, the situation will be different. But otherwise, it is not a supply and will not be made the part of the turnover even. So Renu ma'am, थोड़ा सा interest 2 crore का मुझे भी भेज देना.
जी जी हमारा है वो शेयर
PPT I will share. बस मैं मुझे इतना ही समझ आया, आगे पीछे के words couldn't reach me.
Shalini ma'am, your voice is breaking. In case there are any other questions.
एक बार संजीव
Ma'am, I cannot understand what you're saying.
Ma'am, kindly mention a little in the chat box because your voice is really cracking actually. It's not audible. अन्ना जी थोड़ा सा कॉपरेट करिए ना, हम भी कोई ले में बैठा है, कोई कश्मीर में बैठा है, but still see the gesture of NIRC that they still wanted कि जो hot topics है वो आप तक पहुंचाए जाए. We really apologize for the same as madam's voice is not reachable, but a little
Yes.
from your side, a little thank you so much.
Ma'am, thank you for this warm and insightful session. We'd like to I request Shalini ma'am to present the certificate of appreciation for this wonderful session.
I think my voice is not audible, so you can listen to me. Please request. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I have taken the printout of the screen and I will keep it for me. Thank you so much for making me part of it and giving me a chance to be the speaker for the day, the first speaker, and I'm really obliged for the same.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Shalini ma'am. It was a great initiative. And in fact, it's a good platform for representing all the women in the CA profession who are trying to make it big and who want to take guidance from others who have already made it big. It's a very good platform. A very hearty thanks to all my colleagues and also
it is a pleasure listening to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. All the colleagues and participants, you have been very active and you made the session very interactive and very interesting. So keep joining us for the further series also. We will be hosting the monthly series and we look forward to having all of you there and making it a success again, just like this pilot session of the series was a great success. Shalini ma'am, would you like to say something?
Am I audible?
Yes, now you're audible.
Okay. So really thanks to you, Onam. You have coordinated very well. And of course, thanks to our speakers, Deepa ji and Anchal ji. So let's ready for the further series. We have a number of series, and especially this Shakti series. It's a monthly. We'll host it monthly. So let's meet at next session.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
best wishes to all of you. So I think it will be all from all of us. So we should. Shall we leave now?
Yes, I think we can have a leave.
Okay.
So yes, internet has started working just at the end of the session.